Hey there, what's up, people? This Polly here. This is gonna be like this little quick ramble video, me going over um some of the things I've been thinking about with Jack and the things I'm trying to work on. Because some days you might not always want to practice, you might not be feeling that great, and that happens to me a whole lot. So, like, there are ways that I try to, still pick up the game, even though I might not be able to, I might not be feeling my best, so I might not be doing runs or anything like that, or ILs, but I can still kind of, like, practice something or think about something Jack related, so that's something I'm been thinking about a little bit more. And, so an example of that is, movement, like little movement things that I can just practice that, like, that will hopefully eventually get ingrained into muscle memory. Those are the things that I feel like are really easy to just turn the console on and just practice whenever you need it. And I think that's dope. So there's two things I've been trying to practice a little bit more in Jak and Daxter. Hopefully it will have an impact on my performance in the long run, but we'll see. But first of all, it's like the timing in between inputs. So I like to come here, Sentinel, to do it. It's really nice. This open sand area where you can just punch around and just move and discover spacing and experimentation like that. Sandover is good too, because Sandover has a lot where you can just practice certain movement and things like that, and like go all over the map. But yeah, I like to focus on movement timing. So like when I pump, like when visually can I, start to do a punch or a roll jump or different combinations of movement. Let me slow down, let me try to explain that better. So we have, commonly punch, roll jump is a typical combination in Jak and Daxter. There's a lot of places where we use this, so it's really good to make sure that we're not adding too much delay in between our punch and then our roll jump inputs, or that where we get an eaten input, as you can see right there. You don't want that. That kind of sucks. So that's something that I've been trying to work on, trying to get better over time, because it'd be really convenient if I'm not adding any extra delay into my movement, because something I noticed with myself and probably other new runners as well is when you're, you punch and then you wait a little bit, then you roll jump, then you roll jump, then you roll jump. You see, like I'm pausing in between these inputs, and you don't want to do that. You want to kind of try and find exactly when you can start to do the next input, but not too early to where the input will get eaten. Something that I really struggled with a lot was like uppercuts. So when I was first learning uppercuts, I was consistent at them, but for some reason I started pressing X so early on into, let me pull up my input viewer. That would help a lot. You guys would be able to see exactly what I'm referring to. That I should have thought that one through, though. Should have thought that one through. I didn't think about that. All right. So here we go. We got our little controller here. Let's fix the color, because it's not the right color. There we go. Got the color fixed. All right. I'm not gonna edit this, so frick it. Anyway, so we have our input viewer now. So like something I used to struggle with uppercuts is our go like punch and our hit square so quickly after a punch that it would just get eaten. And I'm trying to give a good example of it. Okay, there we go. See that? Whereas like sometimes it's getting eaten. I've trained myself out of it so much, it's actually hard to eat again. There we go. It's almost like you're hitting them at the same time. but I'm not. But I'm just hitting it so close afterwards. And like this situation, like, you know, this would be very inconsistent if this is what you're doing, because sometimes it works for you, and then sometimes it's not gonna work. And a lot of the times I'd be dropping boosted and like dying in unexpected ways because my timing was so inconsistent and not reliable. Um, so that is something that I really wanted to focus on. So for me, I like to look for visual cues. So like I like to be able to look at Jak, but also kind of get comfortable with like the muscle memory that my hands are building over time. Um, and just kind of figure out the timings for things. I've been really just like every time I feel like, you know, I'm not feeling too well today, or like I'm in too much pain, or I'm just too tired, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna turn on Jak and like practice my movement timings. So I'm just gonna go over some of the little things that I have been practicing for myself. You don't have to, obviously, you don't have to copy off of this. I'm just trying to share my learning process and the things I do when I don't always have the time or the energy, or I'm in pain, or I can't do something the way I want to do it. I can still make use of that time, so I'm just sharing what I do, or what I have been doing recently. But yeah, so anyways, so with the punch roll jump combination, you have punch roll jump. Jak has a little animation. If I punch towards you, you'll be able to, towards the camera, you'll be able to see it with his hand. Like his hand kind of enlarges when he punches, so like it gets really big. If you can see that, it's kind of big. And like from behind, which is where you're usually going to be most of the time, here, bring that arm and swing it around. You can kind of see it swinging out to the right a little bit. So right after, oh frick, almost got blown up. Right after Jak completely stops swinging that hand is when you can roll jump again. So your swing, and it's almost like a millisecond after that swinging with the hand that you can roll jump again. So like for me, I would just be sitting here practicing this, and if I mess up, I'll be like, okay, what did I mess up? Did I do it too early? Usually I do it too early. That's a problem I have. So either you're someone who does things too late, or you're someone who does things too early. You look for that stuff and you try to correct yourself and work through it. So like for me, now that I have that visual cue, I can easily just glance. Nice ball. I can easily just glance at Jak, like, and like just look away and just kind of know what I'm doing, like know that it's gonna be fine. So I'm just practice this, building it up in my muscle memory. So like eventually, my brain would just do it on its own, and I would have less eaten inputs because I'm always gonna be doing the same thing, and I don't have to think too much about it. So this is really nice visual cue for me, and like timing, and it's very smooth. But it's also important to practice long punches versus short punches, because longer punches, the timing is gonna be a little bit different. So the short punch roll jump is the same concept, but you can actually start pressing the roll jump button faster. So you might end up doing that where you eat input a bit more. So you wanna really practice that to get the timing down for both of them. I'm really good at the long punch, but not as much as the short punch. So that's something that I could definitely do. So like short punch is just like a tapping of the square button, and then long punch, you hold it for a little bit. But either way, the visual cue is the same. It just might take a little bit to get used to that muscle memory. And if I notice that my timing is off, like I could actually do it quicker than that, then I'll practice and adjust. But it's so much easier to practice and adjust when you're already consistent at doing it one way, and you're not just always doing it in a way that you haven't even properly thought about. In my opinion, thinking about everything in their individual pieces helps a lot. So the next thing I've been thinking about is we got short and long punches again. So sometimes there's sections in Jak where you just want to do a bunch of punches together and you want to combine them. So for me, it's really good to practice when can I start to do another punch after I initiate a punch. So I will go punch, I'm like, okay, when can I hit it? If I just spam square, yeah, or keep punching. But then there are times where that's not always gonna work for you. You don't want to just be spamming. You want to actually understand the timing, because like there are many situations where doing that, you know, you actually will just not be able to get a punch out, and you're like, there's eating inputs being done. So what I noticed is with long punch, right when I see Jak, if you look at his punch animation, he punches and he kind of bends down, then starts to come back up. When I see him like come back upright is when I know I can do another punch again. So like you punch, upright, punch, upright, punch, upright, punch, upright, punch, upright. And you can just start flying across the map, just punching like this and getting the timing down. At first I thought for short punches it was different. So like if I tap like just tapping it. But I think it's close to the same concept. But sometimes it seems like Jak has to start moving a little bit before I can get another punch in. And this has been interesting because I've recently started playing off of a monitor with the Retro Tank 5X. So like my timings have been a little bit different. So I've been having to like readjust just for that. And that's been interesting. But something that makes it more interesting to look into. But yeah, like just short punches. Upright, punch upright, punch upright, punch upright, punch upright, punch upright, punch upright, and then long, right, upright, upright. So like this visual cues getting to the point where I can do the same thing, where I can be looking over here at chat and like I can just glance over here and I can see when I need to go, and then if I keep practicing this, I will eventually it'll just turn into muscle memory to where I don't have to think about it at all. But the visual cues just help in the beginning, so like you can really see the timing, see why you need to do certain things. I just like to practice it like that. Now, this is just me learning on my own. I like to learn on my own. I'm obviously going to be analyzing other runners' movement and learning from their timings as well. But I think it's also really good to just go in for yourself and like just see what you can come up with, because it just builds your understanding of the game, just sitting there messing with things. And then if you do notice a difference with the way other runners are doing something, you just add that on to your knowledge base. But you already have a solid understanding yourself, even if not everything's perfect and right. You know, you're sitting there and you're putting in the work. I think that really helps solidify the information. But then there's also just regular roll jumps, so timing those is really nice. I do think, like, when I first started doing roll jumps, I used to think that I'd have to like land completely and then do another roll jump like this. But this is really slow, because you can just keep going like this. Like as soon as Jak's feet are about to hit the surface, you can already start initiating the next roll jump. You can already start initiating the next roll jump. And I think that's really, really good to practice, because something that I notice with myself, I don't know if it happens with some of y'all, but sometimes I'll be roll jumping and like I try to roll jump too quickly or something like that, and I just jump instead or something like this, like a little hop instead of a roll jump. But like really just learning to wait for that timing of, okay, Jak landed again. He touched the ground again. And this is also really good practice for other things, like water roll jumps, because water roll jumps is about, you know, initiating the roll jump when you see Jak about to hit the surface of the water again. That's when you have to initiate that roll jump. So if you can get good at visualizing that like that, there you go. It will help you with this type of stuff as well. So you can just sit here, practice something like this just to make sure that you're not messing it up too much. Something I like to do is I go like one side, then I come back, see if I can just do it with timing instead of like looking at it as much. can I do with timing if I'm not looking? And stuff like that. So it's like, you're build up the muscle memory eventually, but you also understand what's happening visually and why it's working that way. And then when you're not doing it right, you can kind of see it as well. Like, you want to wait until, you know, Jack's just about to hit that water, do the real jump. Not too late, not when his feet's already deep in it, but just when he's about to hit that ish. And another thing, like with the uppercuts I was mentioning, where like sometimes you eat the uppercut if you hit X too fast like this, like it's just getting eaten, and it's very it's not reliable, and it's inconsistent, which would cost me a lot of runs because I didn't have a consistent uppercut that I could rely on. Something to help me with that is like knowing that like when Jack punches, he's doing a forward momentum in a way. No matter how, like, even if it's like you're tapping square or if you're holding square. You are able to, you're moving forward. So as long as you have started that momentum forward, if you add an X input, you should always get an uppercut, even if you want a small one. As long as he is starting that forward momentum, you're good. So like in this situation, like where the things get eaten, I'm pressing X before Jack even starts moving. Do that. And then otherwise, if you wait until I start seeing him like, do the forward momentum, like you move forward, uppercut, move forward, uppercut. But you can do a short one too, like move forward, uppercut. But he has to be starting that momentum. He has to be in the process of moving forward with that punch for it to actually be able to turn into an uppercut, no matter how long or deep it is. So that's something that you can visually start looking for as well, and just practice that. I had to literally sit there and like practice this a bit, because like it was a really bad problem I had where I was in the X input get eaten all the time here. So definitely, if you struggle with that, I recommend just breaking that stuff down. Another weird problem I had that I don't know if anyone else had, is like this weird thing with double jumping in this game. Like, timing is like really important in Jak. A lot of the things that we do in Jak depend primarily on the timing of the inputs. Even though the movement and everything is very basic, the timing of it all is what has the biggest impact on what you're going to actually end up doing. So, for instance, like double jumping. Sometimes the way you time a double jump in this game can be the difference between it actually happening and it just not even happening. So, show an example here. When you double jump, you kind of want to double jump quickly. Depending on how quickly you double jump will change what you're getting out of it. Like if you tap it really quickly, like really light taps, you get small taps. And you tap longer, you get bigger taps. But if you space it out, you get a little bit more. But if you like just spam it like too quickly, then you're not going to get as much. But also, something I noticed that I ran into a lot of the times is like when you jump, if you don't do a double jump early enough, you would just not be able to do a double jump. But it's only like when you're going off of ledges. So you see how like I'm spamming X, but once Jak is already starting to fall, you can't really hit X again. So when you double jump, you need to make sure your double jump is happening before Jak starts that downward momentum. At least that's how it looks like to me. That's the visual that I'm looking for with that, because I used to have a lot of situations where my double jumps would just get eaten, and I'm just like, why am I just dying or falling, and like I can't control myself. I was very confused about that, but for me, I just have to isolate like these types of stuff and like really understand why something's happening that way. This game is just very, very specific with timings. So, pressing a button a little bit too late or pressing a button a little bit too early can really mess you up. Oh, and something I forgot to mention is road jump. The road jump visual cue. Something that I did when I first started running as well was I used to like really delay my road jumps, right? And in this game, delaying your road jump has benefits. So that means like holding L1 or R1 longer than normal. And doing that gives you a further road jump, so that there's benefits to it, but you don't want to be holding it too long every time. So like visually looking at Jak as I'm executing the roll jump, I find visual cues for like, okay, this is how much I want Jak to move for a longer roll jump. This is how much I want Jak to move for a shorter one. So like let's use this as a basis. So I do longer roll jump, then we'll do shorter one. Actually, I don't even know why I just showed you that, because my brain will not even be able to recognize the difference with this sand environment. So maybe you saw something. I don't even know why I tried that. My brain can't. But yeah, anyway, so like for the shorter roll jumps, I wait for Jak to kind of just his yellow hair to kind of hit the ground, go towards the ground. That's how long I know I need to hold L1, R1 for just a regular quick roll jump. Then for a longer roll jump, I actually start to wait for him to come back around. Because like if you think about it, he's just rolling in a circle. He's just rolling in a circle like this. So the short roll jump, right when his head kind of goes down, then the longer roll jump is when he starts to come back around. So these are like the longer ones. The shorter ones. And they really do make a difference. So like some weird section here that we do in runs. Like we come here for the scout fly, then we go punch, roll jump, punch, roll jump. I used to not really understand how to make this spacing, but I realized that the more you understand about the timing of the roll jumps, the easier it is to get that spacing just right. And if you ever were analyzing another runner and you're like, oh wait, like they end up like right here, but every time I do the same thing, I'm like somewhere else. It could be as little as longer or shorter roll jumps, longer or shorter punches. You have to start to be able to pick up on when those fit. And when those work and when those don't work in certain situations, because some situations you are going to want a short punch, in other situations you're going to want a longer punch, and vice versa with the roll jump. So it really just depends on a lot of different things. Same thing with like the water hops. We'll practice those. They're only really faster with Blue Eco, but these are worth practicing. I've been practicing these a lot, and like these are little things that like save you a lot of time when you actually start to focus on it and think about it more. These are like the type of little things that I like to look at when I don't always feel the best to do runs or to stream or to do anything too major that day. I just look into little things like this that I feel like will, help me make small improvement. The timing between inputs and, finding a rhythm to it and kind of get it ingrained in my muscle memory, so that even if I do take a break for mental health or for like, low energy or whatever it is that I might need, nice trip, nice loading, I will still be able to, I'm still picking up skills, I'm still building up my understanding and my knowledge of the game. So yeah, my advice would be to try to take those days where you don't really have the time or the motivation, or you don't feel good or something like that. If you want to still keep up with Jak on those days, this would be the type of stuff that you can look into. This messing around, exploring the map, messing around with the game. Even this isolating quick swimming could be fun too. Like, that's always an interesting experience. See how he didn't get me there because I'm going swimming fast enough that he couldn't catch up to me. So you can do things like that to kind of test your speed, or can you do this well, or things like that. Just little things here and there, and like you can literally touch the game for like 5-15 minutes and you're still getting something out of that time. So that's what I've been doing lately. So even though I might not have been streaming as consistently, I am putting in the time to the little things that you lose sometimes when you take some time away from stuff. But yeah, and like mistakes like that, just be able to sit back and be like, oh, okay, what did I do wrong there? I didn't delay my spin enough. I need to make sure that Jak is high enough before I spin, so I can get that little boost in height that I need to execute the movement there. Like little things like that. Just go over things, think about why things don't work, why things do work. Continue watching other runners as well. That also helps if you don't have the time to run, just watching other runners and like analyzing what they're doing as well. All those things are nice things to do when you don't have a lot of time to just sit there and play Jak like all the time. You can just pick it up a little bit and like still get some practice and some value out of it, because like it's never going to be pointless to practice and keep yourself consistent with movement and stuff. Like I'm telling you, like you're never going to be good enough to where that's not valuable, because you just want to keep solidifying that stuff in your mind, and eventually get to the point where you don't have to think about it as much. And the only way you can do that is if you keep practicing and keep working with it. So there's a lot of value in just sitting there practicing things. Oh, I just wanted to share one quick thing as well. This is something that helps me with boosted. I don't know if it's helping else with boosted, but for me, I like to actually, when I'm doing boosted, my thumb is, I don't know if it's because my thumbs are bad or whatever, but I will like kind of use the tip of the stick like this to like make Jak walk as little as possible, because I have a hard time doing that like this with my thumb on the middle. I don't know why, so I use the edge and just slightly move it, and I feel like if I do it like this, I always can get a slow walk. Like sometimes like this, I might get a slow walk, or I might start going a little too fast, but if I do it like this, I will guarantee to get a slow walk every time. So that alone has boosted my consistency for like setting up roll jumps, because I used to be like really slow setting them up. I've been working on speeding that up, because now all I need to do is switch my grip on the controller. Just go like, okay, go like that. Walk up, go like that. Go like that. You know what I mean? So like that's been like boosting up my setups for like, speeding up my setups for like boosteds and things like that. And also, I like to have a visual cue as well, is where like I'm looking for Jak's feet to completely leave the surface. So that's what I'm also looking for to speed myself up. Is having something that I can look at, that I can quickly register, no matter what I'm doing, to be able to execute something faster and more consistently and reliably, so I'm not messing that up all the time. But yeah, I don't know who the frick would even watch this video, but I'm definitely gonna refer to this because I want to remember the timings that I've been coming up with, because my brain sometimes be forgetting, you know. But if anyone did get any value out of this, I hope that it was helpful and that you can get some good Jak practice in even when you don't have a lot of time, because that's what I gotta do. I gotta try my best to fit it in even when I'm not feeling the best. And so this is little ways I've been trying to do that recently, And then when you start feeling a little bit better, you can add ILs into your, practice routine a little bit. Focus on certain levels, and then you can start doing runs, whatever works best for you. But I do feel like focusing on movement timings like this is helpful for this game, because the timing of your inputs is a big part of Jak and Daxter. It's just the way it is. So, but yeah, I'm about to head out then. Bye.